our very first show, we have a stellar lineup of guests. I'm delighted that joining me is Michael Brown, former Blue, of course, almost 500 appearances as a professional player, 200 of those in the Premier League. We have Steven McInerney. You may know him better as Esteemed Kompany. Steven entertains us, of course, with all his YouTube channel dedicated to the club and all his various social media outlets. And we have Jack Gaughan, a journalist with the Daily Mail, covering football in the northwest of England. So welcome to all three of you. First of all, how did you find the first game back, watching from home? How was that for you?
Weird. It was weird, but it was, do you know what? It wasn't as strange as I thought it was going to be. Of course, we missed being in the stadium. Of course, we missed hearing, the genuine chants as opposed to the ones that we were kind of flooded with through the TV. And it's not quite the same. Like a lot of football, as we all know, it is being there with your friends. It is talking to the person sat next to you, even talking to the person you've never met before sat next to you. So you do miss that camaraderie, and you don't get the goosebumps when the players walk out. But still, it was just nice to see basically anyone in a blue shirt again out of the Etihad. Now, it isn't the same. I'm not going to pretend it was. But I guess I enjoyed it more than I thought, because given the world's been swept over by this, this pretty awful time, I had a feeling that it might have felt a little bit more trivial than it actually did. And to be honest, it felt nice having some kind of normality and something to relate to, something to grab onto. And even though, obviously, we all want to be back in the stadium, this still reminded us why we love watching Manchester City. For me personally, just watching Manchester City again, seeing Kevin De Bruyne be wonderful, seeing Phil Foden score, seeing one of our local lads score again. I did miss that feeling, and I'd forgotten how good it felt, because it's been such a long time without football, and insanely. I even had to research the fixtures again, because I couldn't really remember what happened, because it had been that long and that suffocating. But it was good. I enjoyed it more than I expected, if I'm being honest. It's just nice to see City back.
Okay, Michael, let's talk about the lineups. A few surprises in there from first of all, a Man City perspective?
I think that's always the difficulty with the amount of choice Pep Guardiola has for Manchester City. Obviously, Eric Garcia coming in at central defence was probably the one everyone didn't see. You'd have expected maybe a Fernandinho to start in that position, but he's obviously got an opportunity. Pep's backed him and said, go and see what you can do, go and get some game time. So it's a great opportunity for him.
And Jack, Arsenal, a couple of injuries early on, not great for them, not an ideal start. Xhaka and, of course, Pablo Mari, both ankle injuries. A difficult start for them, and I'm sure Mikel Arteta was gutted to get off to such a difficult start.
Yeah, it sounds like both of those players are going to be out for a while as well. And kind of Guardiola warned before the match that we should expect injuries. I know at least one of them was a contact injury, but the game plan just went out the window quite early. I thought they'd started quite well, to be honest. They were stopping City playing through the lines in midfield. They looked quite well drilled. And it was quite a bold team selection from him, with the likes of Nketiah and Willock playing, and Saka. But it was City just grind teams down. And it only took 25 minutes, half an hour, for them to really take control of the game. And once that ball is zipping around in midfield, it doesn't matter how quick or how energetic you are, you can't get the ball back at the Etihad. And Arteta had set him up really well, but when the tide's going that way, it's really, really difficult to counter it. And Arsenal don't have the quality to be able to do that for 90 minutes.
Someone we are going to pick up on now, and I'm sure we'll talk about the rest of this season. What are your thoughts on KDB?
The best thing about De Bruyne for me is I feel like he's growing into his seniority. I feel like he's becoming the leader that Manchester City probably need, because I think we all knew it was going to be really hard to replace that huge Vincent Kompany-shaped hole in the team, not just as a centre-back, but as that kind of leadership thing. And I think when you lose a statesman like that, you need someone to step up a little bit. I think the signs of City's recent history have shown that De Bruyne, more than anyone else in the team, has that ability to really drive teams forward. It's as much as Michael said, technically ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous. But more than that, for me, what I'd love to see at the moment is that where he can just pick up the pace, or the way he can just drive past people, or the way he can just decide just to change the game like that. And once again, Michael will probably know it's very hard just to change a game on your own individually. I personally couldn't, because I was terrible at football. But in general, like De Bruyne could do, he can just, surrounded by world-class players, he can be the star man. And that is very hard to do, I can presume. And the fact that he can just change the pace, and look a cut above everyone else when he's surrounded by the likes of Sterling and Aguero, for me, shows just how special De Bruyne is, because he's not only our most creative player, he's also our heartbeat. He's also the engine in midfield. And I think he's becoming our leader. I suspect he will be captain probably next season. And I think that'll take his game to higher heights, because I think he's becoming absolutely crucial to him. I just love him. He's the one for me. I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed watching certain players. De Bruyne is special. He's genuinely special. And he was the highlight of Wednesday night for me, because I really missed him.
Leno had a few good saves for Arsenal. One that sticks out for me was a David Silva effort that he got down low and saved. He got off to a good start. I'm sure he'll be disappointed at the way things panned out after that.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault at all, was it? The result. He was having a great game before half time and kept Arsenal in it, really. Leno was actually a goalkeeper that City had looked at before they signed Ederson. So clearly there are people at City who think quite highly of him. He's been kind of up and down during his time at Arsenal, but he seems to have found a bit of form over the last kind of like 2 months before the pandemic. But what can you do as a goalkeeper if the defence in front of you aren't doing the jobs properly? There's not a great deal you can do to affect the result. He already made 4 brilliant saves before the goal.
But Michael, Raheem's opener, he couldn't do anything to stop that.
He composed himself. There was a little bit of pressure on Raheem Sterling, obviously, for not getting those goals you'd have expected for him. So as a player, you'd be a little bit uptight, a little bit tense. And you could see once he got in that opportunity, he was composed, and he was a fantastic strike into the far corner. And, as I say, Leno had no chance after a couple of saves, but Raheem Sterling got himself into a great opportunity with a little curled shot that was saved down to the left-hand side only minutes earlier. So it was probably right in the perfect time, just on half-time, to sort of really put an impact onto Arsenal, who've been quite sort of structured, although, as you said, Manchester City for 15 minutes prior was really up the tempo.
What was really, really positive to see from a City point of view in the second half is just the control he had on the ball. I think one of the great things to admire about City is when they're playing well and they're a goal or two up and they know they've got the game in the palm of their hand, just how easily they keep the ball. I mean, they didn't even create that many chances second half, but they didn't have to. It's just about killing the game and moving on to the next one. And actually, that's the sort of thing over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks that's going to be crucial. Because if you can get ahead in games, get 2 goals ahead, and then conserve some energy and make the opposition run, then you're going to be fitter when the next game comes along.
Was it a clear penalty for you, Michael? Was it a harsh red, or did you think it was the decisions were fair enough?
I think when you look, it was obviously a fantastic pass in the first from Ederson across, and I think it was Kyle Walker a little headed down. But Riyad Mahrez really was on the front foot, and he made David Luiz make a decision. He's put it right into the penalty box. He's got the run on him. And what David Luiz does is he tries to pull back the first time. And at that point, once you've tried to do that, you've got to then let him go. And he doesn't. He gets sucked in again, makes that other grab, and then Riyad Mahrez down. So it's a definite penalty. And it gives the referee no option whatsoever. It was always going to be a red card. Once they go to 10 men, it's so difficult. It's so difficult with 11. So going into the next game, it was actually set up perfectly for City, because they could just move the ball around and, as you say, don't have to make that extra run, make Arsenal work. And then those players who've got that little bit of feeling of tightness can just sit, wait for the ball, and they controlled it perfectly right until the end. So it was a great professional performance from Manchester City.
Let's now turn to the Foden goal. The Stockport Iniesta, on a side note, looked like he had a fresh trim. must have to say, especially in comparison to Bernardo Silva, who I definitely don't think had a fresh trim.
Yeah, just quickly on the haircut. My missus did this, and she did all right, I reckon. It's not perfect, but it can be done, is what I'm saying. He has that almost a De Bruyne-esque ability, actually, to kind of just up the tempo and kind of make something happen. And City are beautiful at passing the ball around with those little intricate passes. But sometimes you do need that one player who can inject a little bit of pace. Going back several years ago, it was Carlos Tevez who used to do that. He'd just turn the screw a little bit. Or Yaya a few years back, and Kevin De Bruyne does it. And it could be that Phil also has that similar know-how when to just dribble past someone or run towards a goal. And he made that goal for himself. He was the one receiving the pass from the back and then being 80 yards further up the pitch to finish it. And that stuff is impressive because it shows his kind of all-around game. He's tactically aware to be where he needs to be to receive the pass from the defenders. And then he's following up with almost a very Lampard-esque run, actually. It was very Lampard-esque how he drifted into the box and picked up the pieces. But Phil, every time he scores, honestly, for me at the moment, it means more than most people do. Not for me, it doesn't mean more for me, but it means more than most players. Because Phil is obviously one of our own. And we're very blessed as City fans to watch an era where you've got, tens of millions of pounds of players, and it's great. But seeing someone who you wanted it to be growing up do it means a little bit more for me. It's like he's fulfilling this kind of dream. And it's a Jimmy Grimble story, isn't it? It's that kind of romantic kind of story, and we all love that. And the fact that we've got a young lad from Stockport being compared to Iniesta and actually showing that he's more than good enough to be around his world-class players. I don't know. I think City needed that at the moment. I think it's lovely.
He's going to be such a massive player for the club, both on the pitch but off it as well, and kind of culturally. And I've been fortunate enough to be around him a little bit I cover the England under the 21s, so I've kind of seen what he's like with the 21s, which is completely different to what he's like around City. So when he's with the 21s, he is the big man. He's the one that kind of carries them, and he's a massive character in that group, which people around City are probably quite surprised about, because he's the young one at City and he's quite respectful of everyone around him. But watching him, what he's like around that England group, just gives you a little window into how he's going to act in the next 5 years. And he's got that character to kind of pull people with him, which I think is such a positive thing to have so early on in his career. And if they can, they've already moulded him into a magnificent player, but if they can add proper goals and assists to his game once he starts playing regularly, then they've got a world beater on their hands.
When he comes on late on in games, as you said, it's fantastic for him that he can run forward, he can burst and get great opportunities. But what really impressed me was the celebration. When he scored, sort of 3-0 at the last minute, you sort of think, does it really matter? He really enjoyed it, and that just shows you the hunger what he's got.
I'm sure you'll agree, Stephen, as a fan, to see that from a player.
Yeah, the best bit of the night, genuinely. That was the celebration of a fan, put it that way. And given the disconnect between the lack of fans at the ground and stuff like that, and given we're in this era where fans have probably justifiably never felt more disconnected from the game because of everything that's going on, seeing a fan out there on the pitch actually celebrate like that, it was special. Of course it was special, because it obviously doesn't make up for the not being there, but you could tell he celebrated almost like, I don't think that was going through his head, but it was almost like because we weren't there, he kind of filled some of that celebration kind of gap, I guess. And
Stephen, what would your celebration be?
Oh, I'd be running at the stands, I'd be legging about everywhere. I'd be there just like trying to find my dad or my mum in the stand or whatever, hugging everyone. In
the next couple of weeks, I want to see your celebration. You've got to work on it for us.
I'd be Adebayor in front of the away fans like that down there, like, come on.
One thing that I did want to mention was the 5 subs. Jack, what are your thoughts? A trend to follow, an advantage? Arsenal needed it, and an advantage for City also perhaps towards the end. What are your thoughts?
A massive advantage for Manchester City, given the quality of the bench and some of the players that didn't even make the bench. It's frightening, isn't it? I mean, they could basically take the front 5 off and bring a completely new front 5 on with half an hour to go, and would be able to completely change a game. And that's the interesting thing from Project Restart is that it will be an advantage to the bigger teams with more depth to their squads. It made me smile yesterday when we were doing Sean Dyche did his press conference yesterday ahead of Monday's match, and someone asked him about kind of teams not being up to speed fitness wise, etc., etc. And he was asked specifically about Man City. And he just laughed and went, "Well, I've seen that Man City haven't played a friendly in the build up. Well, they don't need to because they just played each other, and that's like playing two Premier League teams against each other anyway. So they'll be absolutely fine." And that just goes to show the quality they've got and what Pep can call on from the bench.
Sean Dyche kind of only really works with players who are very focused and very professional. And I think it's the teams that are blessed with that kind of pro at the moment that will probably handle this return better than most, because it's that probably, what's that? I'm going to get the saying wrong. Where is it? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard or something like that. I think that's right. I think City got on the dressing room or something like that.
Right.
But
I'll take it.
Yeah, I think I got it right. Someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong. But Burnley are the epitome of hard work, and I think that will probably stand him in good stead. So it's going to be, I think it'll be a more difficult game than the Arsenal gave Manchester City personally, because I think Arsenal are the kind of team we wanted to play because they're very much Manchester City's kind of style, and everyone more focused on them. So I'm really looking forward to this game. It's going to be fun.
Jack, the Northwest is very much your remit, so you're across all teams. Do you agree? Tougher test than Arsenal?
Yeah, but I don't think Sean Dyche would mind me saying that they've got massive problems before Monday. They've got Ashley Barnes is injured, Chris Wood is injured, Johan Berg Gudmundsson's injured, probably their best three attacking players, and they've also got problems with out of contract players. So there's 4 first teamers that are out of contract at the end of the month. Dyche yesterday wasn't sure whether any of those were going to play. So they're effectively without 7 first-team players. They do have issues that I'm not sure whether they're going to be able to address before Monday.
We're going to finish then with a prediction for the Burnley game. I'll come to yourself. I'll come to you, Jack. Give us a prediction.
Or do I have to?
Jack, you'll be already looking down, planning this. These reporters already write what's going to happen before it happens.
Mine's already done, Michael. Apparently Aguero scores twice. 4-0 City.
4-0. Aguero to start then? Is that a wee...
Yeah, I think Aguero.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Good shout. Okay, Michael?
Oh, it's a tough one. And as you said, if Burnley have these problems, I might because of the set-piece threat, I think they might have a little bit of joy, Burnley. I'm going to say 4-1 Manchester City.
Who's going to score for Burnley?
It's a good question. Who's going to play for Burnley? Whoever can get on the end of one of them throws or corners, we'll soon see.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. And Stephen, what do you think?
How is the fan more cautious than these two? I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Burnley will probably cause us problems. Jay Rodriguez seems to be the kind of guy who would just score against Man City. If he's even available, I don't know. But I expect Burnley will score. I think Dwight McNeil will probably have a decent game as well for them, because I really like Dwight McNeil. I think City will win, but not just through a fan's perspective. I think City could probably just blessed, with the squad depth, and as Jack pointed out earlier, which I wasn't really aware of, being honest, I didn't realize how many issues Burnley are having, which must be so difficult to come back then and face a team of City's quality. But I think it'll be close. I think I'm going to go for 2-1 City, I reckon.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Interesting. That's it. 3 points is 3 points. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. Really, really brilliant chat. Great to get your thoughts, and much appreciated. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the Burnley game, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.